Cynthia here. So today's topic is going to gear more towards the addict. I just felt like that was kind of the direction that God led me in today. First off, I would like to let the addict know that it is okay to not be okay, and recovery is a hard step to decide to make. Whenever you decide to go through recovery, there's a lot of processes. So for me, I decided that I needed a purpose, a reason of why I was quitting, because obviously it wasn't just enough for my health, for my mind, whenever I decided that I was going to get clean, because I kept relapsing and I couldn't figure out why, because I had such a wonderful life, and why did I keep relapsing? Why did I keep doing this to myself? So I needed to find a purpose, a meaning of why I was going to decide to do this. And my faith became a big part of my life. And I'm not going to say that that's for everyone, but do find your purpose. That is the biggest step, because you've already come to the point of where you've decided that you want to go through recovery and that you want to get help. That's the biggest first step that anyone can take. But the next step is the hardest, is actually doing it. So I do recommend that you find something that helps you along the way, that can help you understand why you're quitting, to where you can actually, anytime that you feel like you're going to relapse, you can look at that and be like, no, because this is my purpose of why I'm doing this. So God put the addiction in my life, I feel like, for a reason, and that was to help others. So that was my purpose. I had to get clean, because in order to help others get through the journey, I needed to show that I could do it myself. So this is where I actually want to share a few passages from the Bible with you, because I feel like it kind of goes hand in hand, and they were something that actually kind of helped me. And I know it's going to seem kind of silly that I'm starting from the back and bringing myself to the front of the Bible with these passages, but this is how it read out to me. This is how God showed it to me. And so we're going to start out in 1 Peter chapter 5 verse 10. And that passage is going to say, God, who shows you his kindness and who has called you through Christ Jesus to his eternal glory, will restore you, strengthen you, make you strong, and support you as you suffer for a little while. So with my addiction, like I said, I relapsed many a times. So he brought me out. Had it not been for God, I believe I would still be wondering if today was going to be my last day, because I was taking drugs so heavily that I thought I was going to die at some point. So the next verse that I'm going to come to is James chapter 1 verse 12 through 15. Blessed are those who endure when they are tested. When they pass the test, they will receive the crown of life that God has promised to those who love him. When someone is tempted, he shouldn't say that God is tempting him. God can't be tempted by evil, and God doesn't tempt anyone. Everyone is tempted by his own desires, as they lure him away and trap him. Then desire becomes pregnant and gives birth to sin. When sin grows up, it gives birth to death. So this passage is a lot for me, because I did believe that God was testing me every single step of the way. No, it was the devil that was bringing me to that point. And God was trying so hard to reach me and pull me back out. But I wouldn't listen. So I feel like finally I listened, and God was able to pull me out of that dark spot. So the next verse that we're going to is 1 Corinthians chapter 10, verse 13. There isn't any temptation that you have experienced which is unusual for humans. God, who faithfully keeps his promises, will not allow you to be tempted beyond your power to resist. But when you are tempted, he will also give you the ability to endure the temptation as your way of escape. So with this one, I was tempted by many of things throughout my life, and I had oftentimes had thought that God was the one tempting me with these things to test me. So this is where God kept his promise. He pulled me out, gave me the strength to go on, and still even to this day, there is no temptation too strong that has been put into my life that I couldn't overcome it. Okay, this is going to be the last one, and we're going to Romans chapter 13, verses 12 through 14. The night is almost over and the day is near, so we should get rid of the things that belong to the dark and take up the weapons that belong to the light. We should live decently as people who live in the light of day. Wild parties, drunkenness, sexual immorality, promiscuity, rivalry, and jealousy cannot be part of our lives. Instead, live like the Lord Jesus Christ did and forget about satisfying the desires of your corrupt nature. So that one, I honestly, when I decided that I was going to start going back to church, I thought I was going to have to give up things, and that was quite scary for me. I honestly thought that I was just going to have to let go and give up my life, and so it was a very scary thing. And to be honest, I couldn't be happier now. I didn't give up anything at all. Those things that I thought that I was having to give up, no, I didn't have to give those things up at all. I could have just kept living in sin if I wanted to. But for there to be joy in my heart, I had to give up those things. And it wasn't giving them up. It was just letting them go and letting them stay where they needed to be, because that's where they belonged. Somewhere else outside of my life, because I was very unhappy in those circumstances. So it brought me joy to finally release and be free to be myself, who God intended me to be. Because I am in the place now that he wanted me. And he finds us in some of our most brokenness of places. So why I say that this is going to be more geared towards the drug addict is because I'm going to explain how I became saved and how I was still kind of in that place even after being saved. So I was still doing the drugs, still drinking, as I decided that I was going to get back to church. And during one of the sermons, it was during homecoming at the church that I was going to at that time, we were outside in the pavilion, and the pastor had at the very end, and he used to always do this, would say, ask if there was anyone lost and if they needed to find their way to Christ. Well, I was one of those people, and I raised my hand that day, and I just kept it raised. I knew I could put my hand down, but it's like something was just kept my hand there and kept it up in the air. And then he proceeded to say that anybody that had raised their hand, come on forth to the altar and accept Christ into your heart. So I just start walking. I don't even feel my legs moving at all. I feel like I'm just being floated through there, like something else had control of my body. And Whole entire time I'm thinking, what am I doing? Oh my gosh, I'm going to have to give up so much. Oh my gosh, oh my gosh. And like, it was terrifying, but at the same time, like, I could not stop myself. And I get there and I say the prayer and I become saved. The happiest day of my life. I just felt like every horrible thing was lifted off of my shoulders and I could finally be happy. But that's not to say that I was finished yet. So I still continue to go to church while still doing my same routine every single day. And the bad part about me was I was a functioning addict. Most people had no clue. I held down an everyday job. I just looked like your normal everyday person walking on the side of the street, person that you come up to buy your goods from, person sitting in church that's your best friend. But I still had that darkness lingering inside of me, and it was hard. So I started finally going to a Suboxone clinic. However, that's a drug all in itself. I had a hard time letting go of. But with God's help, that's the only way that I was able to overcome it. So when I finally decided, I don't know how to do this, I don't know how to get off of this stuff on my own, I prayed so hard. And I just asked him, I was like, is there any way that you can please just take these afflictions from me? I can't do this anymore. It is too much for me to handle. It's too much for me to take. So the next day, I made a plan that I was going to get off of this Suboxone no matter what it took, if I was going to be sick, whatever. Funny part is, when I let it go, I didn't have a withdrawal whatsoever. God gave me the strength to quit that on my own and not have a single problem. It's so great what He can honestly do for you. And I'm not going to say that God is necessarily everybody's path. I would love to say that, but not everybody is going to come to terms with that, and that's fine. Come to Him in your own time. But do please find a purpose of why you want to quit, because going down this path of continuing to do the same routine over and over again is heartbreaking, and I know this from experience. It hurts. It hurts so much, and a lot of times you don't even realize that it's not just hurting you, it's hurting the people around you. So if you have come to the decision, the first step is realizing that you're an addict and that you need to quit. I commend you for that, because that's a hard step. That's the hardest step of them all. So please just go ahead and continue to go forth with it. And I do hope that maybe some of you will come to God and understand that He is there for you, and He will lift you up in so many ways. And by me talking about the routine, I'm hoping, if this weather would stop raining, to get out on my bicycle and actually talk about the routine of the drug addict, to where people can kind of understand from that side point of it as well, and to get a glimpse of what it's like after you get rid of that routine, that you can actually live life and do the things that you want to do, and you can actually feel up to doing it. So I do hope that somebody actually took something from this video today, and just please go live your life and let your light shine. And I hope everybody has a blessed day.